Hey everyone, welcome back to day 2 of Build Like a Pro 5-day challenge to establish your professional brand. I am Brianna Baker of Bree Brands Consulting. And so today we are focused on brand voice, who you're talking to. And so again, welcome to day 2. Let's make your message unmistakable. You attract who you're speaking to. And today we're going to define your voice and your audience. So here's the truth. If you're not clear on who your audience, your message is, you won't land, your book won't sell, your podcast won't grow, and your coaching offer will stay invisible. That's why today we're identifying your ideal client avatar, or ICA, the one person your brand is built to serve. And this has been a common conversation around avatars and ideal client or target audience. And so I felt that it would be beneficial for us to take time to really zone in on who that person is. So, who is your ICA? Here's some questions I want you to consider. Number one, what they struggle with. Every particular brand or mission has an area where they're going to solve a problem. And if a person has a problem, that's essentially why I use the word struggle. It's something that they have not fully dealt with or came to grips with or have a clear understanding of. And so that's where you come in. Number two, what they dream about. We all take time to just kind of sit back and think, and we make vision boards about various things. So, what is your ideal client dreaming about? Like, what are their aspirations? I can use a client of mine. They said that their client is dreaming of freedom. They're dreaming of, flexibility in what they do. Okay. So what is your client dreaming of? Is it the same? Is it something different? Number three, where they hang out. And when I say where they hang out, we can talk about physical places, as in activities, or we can talk about social media. Are they on TikTok? Are they on YouTube? Are they on Facebook? And then number four, what kind of content they consume. And so that kind of aligns with where they hang out. So you can think about physical locations for three. And then for four, you can think about the actual social media platforms, because you want to know what kind of content. Are they consuming stuff that's funny? Are they consuming more informational? Do they need to have visual like a YouTube, or do they need more audio like a podcast? So really taking time to figure out, because this method here, or these particular questions, are going to give you clarity in your messaging, your marketing, and your product creation. So let's break it down by industry. Again, my target here is authors, podcasters, and coaches, but this can align to any particular business model if you apply it. So, authors, the first thing I want you to do is think about your ideal reader. Who is that person that's picking up your book? Who is this book truly for? What season of life are they in? You want to begin to look at what's their struggle or desire. And so you guys can see just from the initial questions how it helps you to even craft your writing. I remember having a conversation with my best friend. She's more like a sister to me, and she shared that in her writing process, she begins first of all with self-reflection, and then secondly, she takes her idea to God in prayer, and she begins to think about what is the ideal person that I'm writing this for going through. And there can have like parallel experiences, right? Where I could be going through A, you could be going through B, but this message I'm getting ready to write is going to help us both. And so, just like I shared with you all in day one, the client here that wrote reflections pieces from the heart, she shared that she wanted to speak to women who are in their process with God. Like they found themselves in various situations and they began to ask the question, well, why am I going through all of this? But then in her own personal reflection, she realized God showed her that it's not the question of why, but it's more so why not? Why not you go through this? Why not you be the one that I use as a vessel to share the testimony of how you overcame this situation? And so, as an author, when you're writing, there's another client I've worked with, and he has a book that's getting ready to be released, and that book is about progressing forward, having a committed mindset. So he is more so speaking to a reader who is saying, I want more out of life, but I first have to be committed. I have to get my mindset committed on how I'm going to progress forward. See, a lot of our challenges that we face is really a mindset thing. And so, to all of my authors, you really have to write with a focus to almost rewire. Your writing should rewire. Thank you, God. Your writing should rewire how your reader is thinking about the situation. Like I shared about my best friend, she wrote her book to cater to people in various seasons of life, hence the name To Everything. Just like my client here, Reflections Pieces from the Heart, she wrote from her personal life experience and how she too will want a woman to come to Christ and gain that revelatory reflection of how he brought them over. Authors, I hope you caught it. Let's go to the next. Podcasters. Podcasters. So when someone is tuned into your particular episode or your brand, who is tuning in weekly, right? When you are putting out your episodes, what are you hoping to hear? What are they hoping to hear from you? Like, what is the messaging behind what you're getting ready to say? Is your particular avatar seeking motivation, how to, or just raw honesty? And I share with you guys about Motivate to Millions. So that podcast really has the message in its name to motivate to millions of people, but also motivate a person to get to their millions. See how that has a double entendre. There's a double message there for you to really take hold to, that I want to motivate millions of people, but I also want to motivate those people to get to their millions, right? And so in your listening, right, if you were the ideal client, you're listening to get motivation of how can I move from 9 to 5 life to entrepreneurship life? How can I, create my transition plan in such a way that my finances are intact, insurance plan, etc. And so also too, if you have a podcast like me and my husband have, which is Resilient Love, when we want people who are millennials to tune in, we want millennial married couples to tune in, whether they are in year one, they are engaged, or they are at our status a little higher in their years of experience with their spouse, right? We want to create a conversation around staying married God's way, or walking out marriage God's way. That's our messaging. So there is a piece to that about, motivation, but there's also a piece to that about honesty. Like, we don't want to create a fairy tale. We want to create a real life experience to let people know marriage is meaningful. Marriage is honestly what you make it. And so in our podcast episodes, we hope that you get entertainment, but also you get that honesty and encouragement. That's really our heart, to encourage those millennial married couples to stay in the ring, the real ring. Yes. All right, moving on. Podcast, I hope you got that. Coaches. Yeah, we're back. Coaches, I have two main questions for you. Who needs your offer most right now? Who? Who is that person? And then two, what beliefs, frustrations, or goals are shaping their day-to-day life? So, as I share with you with this client who speaks to mothers specifically who have just kind of gotten caught up in their many roles or many titles that they miss self. Right now, that person is women, mothers who really need that message now of encouragement to find out the new goals, right? They need to set new goals for themselves. Maybe their goals was all about their children or all about their spouse or all about the family dynamics, but now it's time to get back to self because they have been frustrated in figuring out everybody else stuff and feeling like self was left out. So that's the messaging behind that particular client. But there was also another client I spoke with who speaks on transformation. And so their whole focus here is to have a mental transformation of how you view self so that you too can begin to walk out whatever your career goal is or things of that nature. You know, high profile women who are in careers to transform their mindset to think high profile. Maybe they're in a mid-level position, but they desire a higher level. They got to transform their mind, right? We have to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. So coaches, you have to transform that mind. Podcasters, you have to transform that mind. Authors, y'all get the picture, right? Your ideal client is really looking for a mindset shift. And you have the power of your voice, of your manuscript, of your show notes, of your coaching program to literally change their mind, to change the trajectory of whatever path they were currently on. So now let's break it down. Let's get very detailed into exactly how we create our ideal client avatar. If this is helping you, please go ahead and just drop a smiley face in the chat. I love to see you smile. I love to see that you're catching it. Maybe you want to drop a light bulb that the light is finally switching on for you when it comes to your ideal client. I want you to just engage in the chat so that we can begin to create even more traction to this particular conversation. Okay, so now getting back to our ideal client. With this avatar here, I broke it down for us into these categories. So as you are working in your worksheet, you can begin to break it down. If you have not seen the worksheet, here is the worksheet that I'm referring to. And so, for those of you that do not have access to the worksheet, just send a message. It should be dropped in the comments in the group as well for you to work through this avatar. So let's go back. So, as we are working through our avatar, I want us to really look at the first thing. First of all, give your avatar a name. I actually walked through this exercise, and so I'm going to utilize what I have came up with to help you. So, let's walk through this together. Number one, my avatar's name is Trey. Yep, Trey. And Trey is 29 years old. Hence why I chose an age here because I want to show the bracket in which I want to speak to. I want to speak to people who are 25 to up to about 40. 25 to 40. That's who I'm really talking to. Honestly, like 25 to 35. So about 10 years. So when you are figuring out the age bracket of your avatar, just think within a decade. So 20s to 30s, or only 20s, or only 30s, or maybe 60s and up. You know, so think about age bracket, but my age is 29. Now, job or profession. This person is in the finance or banking industry. Finance or banking industry. I am catering this. I did not share that earlier, but let me back up. I am catering this client to a podcast, Motivate to Millions. I am catering this client to a podcast, Motivate to Millions. So let's go back. Number one, the avatar name is Trey. Number two, Trey is 29 years old. Number three, Trey's job or profession is in finance/banking. Four, where does Trey hang out online? Trey is usually on TikTok or Instagram because of the short form reels and because of the access to major brands, like being able to interact with major brands. Those are the main two platforms. What are the top three problems or desires that Trey has? So the top three desires that Trey has is number one, to have freedom and flexibility in how he operates in his schedule. Number two, having access or creating multiple streams. Like he desires to have multiple streams of income. He's in the banking and finance industry, so he's learned a lot about, saving, lending, just good practices. And so he wants to really expand that to reach a particular audience that's a passion project of his heart so that people can have access to more. And then his third desire is to get out of the 9 to 5 life. Like he has learned so much within the last 5 years being in banking. Before he got into the banking industry, he was working in manufacturing. And so that created a dynamic of transferable skills. And so he's like, man, I have learned so much. I see these young men that are coming up that are choosing ways to make money that are not safe or the best. And so I want to be able to have an outlet to hire those young men to do a service. And it's like a 2 for 1. Like you help the young man, but you also helping your desire of being an entrepreneur, right? And giving someone else a job. As I think about this, right, I'm gonna pause for a second. As I think about this, my mindset goes to Kev on Stage, which his name is Kevin Fredericks, and he has a podcast. Here's the Thing podcast with that chick Angel and Joshy Gons. Her name is Angel Tanksley, and so they have had their podcast for 5 years. Just celebrated 5 years, 2025, and one of the things he has shared on his platform on multiple times is just how, your conversation, your focal point, like, is going to help others because you're helping yourself. So even though my husband, who is the podcast I'm referring to, Motivate to Millions, he has these personal desires. So in him creating this avatar, it does have pieces of him in the midst of this creation. So you know how people say in church, for those of you that have been in church, you may have heard the phrase, I want to be the first partaker, or I need to do this first. Before somebody shows you something, you should be able to do it first. And so my husband is walking through his personal journey of working a 9 to 5 and seeking full-time entrepreneurship. And so in him developing Trey too is walking through that same process. And so I just want to kind of pause for a second and just share about Kev on Stage and how he got started and just how his whole focal point is entertainment. He has a podcast, multiple podcasts. And so he chose that avenue to really entertain you because his career is actually a comedian. And so with that, you get to see Kev on Stage, which is his stage name. You get to see him in various facets, but his ideal client is someone who enjoys comedy. Your age, he might not be considering age specifically, but he is considering just general entertainment and also relating to family. So I threw a complete sidebar in there, but I hope that helps somebody. Okay, moving on. What keeps them up at night? So what keeps Trey up at night? It's just the fact of seeing those young men making choices that are not the best. Even though he wants this freedom for himself, he wants the younger generation to not be on the streets. He wants to help the homeless community not continue to stay in that particular situation or experience, right? So those are some of the things that keeps Trey up at night. And then the last one, what are they Googling right now? They're Googling, you know, ways to make blank amount of money, or how to have blank business, whether it's a lawn care, cleaning, etc. So you can see how, yes, this is a client that you're speaking to, but there's a little piece of you in it. And I'll share about me really quickly. So, with myself, I am a brand consultant. The reason why I am so passionate about helping individuals establish their brand, their mission, their vision, etc., and walk it out, and also just being in the public relations space, is because this goes back to high school. There were some opportunities that I missed out on because it wasn't publicized. There were some things that I really wanted to, be a part of, but because it wasn't clearly laid out how to do or how to get connected, I kind of backed away. And so, fast forward literally 14 years, I have been on a mission to help people establish a clear, concise brand that people can plug in. Okay, I got another story for y'all, but I'm gonna save it at the end. Are we good on this? Now, here's a part two to the avatar. The part two to the avatar is taking it deeper. What emotionally motivates your ICA or ideal client avatar? What's the emotion? And so, as I shared in the previous slide, every client has an emotional piece to it, like their why behind the what. Why do I do this? Because of what happened here. Okay? The why behind the what. So, why do I coach? Why am I a brand consultant? Because of what happened when I was in high school and how I missed out on opportunities and things were just not clearly laid out. And fast forward, I see people who have a vision, but they're not clearly articulating that vision to the public. So the public doesn't know how to plug in. When somebody knows what you're talking about, they can plug in. So let me read some examples to you. She's tired of being overlooked. That could be the emotion behind the reasoning. He wants to leave a legacy. They're ready to break generational patterns. Those are just some emotional reasons why the person is ready to level up, to listen to that episode, to read that book, to take that coaching class, because of some of these emotional motivated reasons. You can share some in the comments right now. Go ahead. What's an emotionally motivated reason for your ideal client? Like, what are they feeling emotionally as to why they're ready, as to why they need what you have? And so, as we are fine tuning this, let's talk to the authors again. Authors, come to the front. Come to the front, authors. And so, what emotional thread runs through your book that readers need? Does your main message speak directly to their pain or purpose? So, when you think about that, what is your messaging doing? Is it really having a good flow to it? As I shared earlier, my best friend's book, To Everything, is walking you through various situations. But I love how she crafted this particular manuscript to where you choose the topic and then that topic speaks to you in that moment. I love a topical book, and that's very similar to what she decided to do in her latest book. Now, also with my client, I share reflections, pieces from the heart. The emotional thread through that is the ups and downs of relationships, the ups and downs of just how God repositions you throughout life and how he gets the glory. And honestly, at the end of every particular entry, because she wrote it like a journal entry, At the end of each entry, she's doing a call to Christ. So at the end of each journal entry, if you don't know the Lord, hopefully by the end of that book, you will have a desire to want to know him more. That's her aim. That's her getting outside of the four walls of the church and reaching others. So, authors, when you're thinking about that, what is the emotion that you're taking your reader on? Okay? All right, authors, step to the side. Let's talk to the podcasters. Again, fine tuning the message, podcasters. What conversation resonates most with your listener? As they are digging into the conversation, as they're listening, could your episodes be weekly therapy or a pep talk? Again, I mentioned in episode or day one where I listened to Blessed and Bossed Up. And so as I listen to her, she's walking us honestly through a teaching, like a devotional, or even walking us through a book where she has pulled out key themes that lead us back to scripture. And so that's like really a devotional time with God, with her leading it. But also, there have been episodes where she's just giving straight business talk. So that's the beautiful thing about her podcast, Blessed and Bossed Up. So she's giving you Bible and business, which she made a series about that. You should go check it out. All right, podcasters. I did not forget you, coaches. So, coaches, fine tuning your message. Does your ICA believe in themselves? Like, is the belief of them like low? Is your coaching program going to bring their belief back or be that spark to get their belief back? And then are they at the beginning, middle, or scaling phase of their journey? Now, that's a big one. Coaches, that's big. Where you meet your client at now really dictates what particular program you put them in. If you meet somebody who may have went through a breakup and they are just having some low self-esteem, just a low self-image, they are at the beginning. Or you may catch somebody who they've been to therapy, they are working on themselves, but they are just like, man, it's just one little piece. I'm trying to get this little piece right. So I'm coming to you to help me with this one category. Or you have somebody like I shared earlier who is a working class woman, a career woman who's like, yo, I am ready to level up. I'm ready to be the CEO. I'm ready to be the director, etc. So they are at that level up phase. Like, baby, what they need to do to push past this particular wall here or this ceiling, push past the ceiling and get to success. And so through your coaching, it should do that, right? But you got to be clear on what stage they're in. So I love that for you coaches, that you're taking that time to assess the stage in which you're meeting somebody. Always know everybody's not at the same stage. So you got to be mindful of your approaches, right? Where somebody is at stage 1, when you meet them, you might meet another client who's at stage 15. So you got to cater your messaging to their moment. Thank you, Holy Ghost. So with that being said, homework assignment. You need to complete your ICA profile, write a 5 to 7 sentence paragraph describing the person, and then name the 3 platforms or content styles they prefer. So you could say they're on YouTube, or they love to read, so they're doing blogs, or they love short videos like Reels, or they love long videos, which, like I mentioned, could be on YouTube. And then overall, post a short paragraph introducing your ICA and let us know if you're focused on coaching, if you're an author, or if you're podcasting. We want to know all of that in the group. You can drop it right here in the comments on this channel. And don't forget to use the hashtag BuildLikeAPro Day 2. I want you guys to make sure you connect with me on social media. And again, if you do not have the worksheet, this is the worksheet I am referring to. Just drop a comment in the chat and I can send this worksheet to you. Oh my goodness. How do you guys feel about day 2? I think it was good. I hope that you all gained some clarity on creating your ideal client avatar. I am excited to see the avatars that you guys come up with. If you don't have the worksheet, do not let that hinder you. Go back, screenshot that slide, and do your homework. I want to see your homework. By the end of these 5 days, we should have the brand plan because we're building, baby. This is block 2. This is brick 2 in our building process. So I feel that by day 5, the bricks should be laid for our foundation and we can really build up from there. This is Brianna Baker of Bree Brands Consulting, and we are builders. This is day 2. Take care.